People think you need millions upon millions of dollars to retire, when in fact, I think I could do it if I only had $500,000. Let me show you. Yo, what is going on, Premium Chasers? I hope you are having a God-blessed day. Today, every single person is going to get my brand new ebook called The Weekly Wheel. If you want that ebook, all you got to do is drop a comment. I'll personally send you over that full ebook. And while you're down there, hit that like button and that subscribe button if I provide some value for you. But guys, today, we're going to be talking about a strategy that I plan to use, especially during my quote-unquote retirement years, to generate some potential income, okay? Now, a lot of people, when they think about retirement, they hope to have a few $1,000,000 or whatever it might be, and they take 4%, or if you're part of that like FIRE crowd, take a few percentage of that every single month to live off of and not actually work. Well, for me, I kind of want to flip the script on that a little bit, because what if your money kind of runs out and it's maybe there's a downturn in the market or whatever your money's wrapped up in? I want to be able to create some sort of active income without actually going to a typical job and essentially like have a paycheck still, right? And that's the strategy I want to share with you guys today. And it really shifted my view on the markets and how to actually collect premium from them on a weekly basis, like we're going to be talking about. Now, this stock / ETF we're going to be doing this on is SPY. And I've talked about this a few times on the channel. As if you're new to this strategy, just bear with me. I know when you hear options or something like that, you immediately want to run for the hills because you've probably lost money buying options. I have too. Now, this strategy does involve risks that I'm going to share with you. So watch the whole video. You're going to understand it. And if it sounds like a fit for you, fantastic. Go give it a try, right? But let's go over the shoulders. So we're going to be doing this on SPY, okay? Now, the reason I like to do this on SPY is because SPY has always recovered in downturns and hit all-time highs. Now, obviously, past performance is not indicative of future results, right? Absolutely. Like, totally, SPY could crash and never actually, come back, right? However, if for me, I don't believe that. I think SPY will continue to hit all-time highs, right? We'll obviously have, downturns like we have, but I do believe it will recover. And that eliminates one of the biggest risks of this strategy. A lot of people go do this on like MSTR or, individual stocks that are very risky. And that's where you get really, really burned. Now you have to go make your own decisions. I know some of you like doing this on like leveraged ETFs and MSTR and stuff like that. For me, I personally don't like that. I've lost way too much money. So I try to focus on just like really boring stuff now. I genuinely do. But let me show you guys how this looks like. So we're going to go over to the options chain, where instead of clicking buy, we're clicking sell. And now instead of selling call, I'm selling a put. And I'm going to go out just about a week. So we'll just do the nine days right here, okay? Now, basically on this options chain, and what we're saying is, hey, on August 18th, I am willing to buy 100 shares of SPY, right? Now, I get to name my price for this as well, right? So you're seeing this on the left-hand side. These are the share prices that I could purchase I'm willing to purchase 100 shares SPY. Now, obviously the market is closed. These premiums are for educational purposes only. They will vary on your brokerage account. They will, okay? You could see at the time of me recording this, SPY is trading at 638. If we scroll down a little bit, let's say 630, right? Like, let's just open this one up. We have a delta of about 0.25. That basically means, not the technical definition, but basically means the probability of assignment. So there's about a 25% chance that on the close on August 18th, SPY will be trading at 630. Now, that's not the technical definition of delta, but I like to look at it as just like a probability, and most option sellers, that's the way they look at it, okay? That's why I personally like to look at the delta between 0.20 and 0.30. That gives me a good balance of everything. Now, with this one contract, right, I would collect $176 of premium. This is coming from the options buyers, right? Now, your brokerage would lock up your capital, right? You're getting this $176 up front. We'll toss this into our cash secured put calculator. All my calculators stuff are free. Join us. They're in our Facebook group. Link will be in the description. So we're collecting $176. Now, our brokerage is going to lock up our cash, right? We focus on cash secured puts, it's called, because we're locking up $63,000 for 9 days, right? $630 a share times 100. We're locking that up for a return of 0.28 in 9 days. We're getting that, that's the premium divided by the collateral that you're locking up. Now, you can open as many contracts as you want to do. Like if you, for example, if you did in this example, let's say you did 8 contracts, right? You did 8 contracts, which gets you just like $500,000, right? That's, let's say you were actually doing this. You would collect $1,400 up front. That would be your premium that you collect, right? Obviously educational only, content only, guys. These premiums will look different. Now, there are risks to this. So it sounds awesome, right? Like you're kind of basically doing this on a weekly basis and collecting $1,400 in premiums, right? That's awesome, right? However, there are risks to this, okay? And I'll get to the biggest one. The best case scenario, I guess, if you want to look at it this way, is let's say on August 18th at close, right? SPY is just trading at 638 still. It's just, or 650 or whatever it's trading at, just above $630. Well, your contracts, your 8 contracts would expire, right? That's okay, right? Your collateral would no longer be locked up by a brokerage account, and it would be given back to you. And then you could run the play for the following week and collect more premium. Cool. The second thing that can happen, and this is the biggest risk, of this strategy, is that let's say at the close on August 18th, let's say that SPY is trading at like 625, 620. Well, guess what? You're on the hook to buy your shares at $630 a share, okay? So you got to be comfortable. Now, listen, in this game, you're going to make mistakes. We all have gotten caught up in like some stocks that took massive drops, and then, we kind of get screwed and we have to buy them at a higher price. It happens. The reason I plan to do this on SPY during my retirement years is because, again, if let's say SPY did drop down to like 600 on August 18th, right? Well, I have that conviction and belief that SPY will hit all-time highs again. I do believe that. So even if I'm stuck holding SPY for a couple of months waiting for a recovery, I'm okay with it. I am. It gives me that sense of diversification, right? It being an ETF. Now, you could do this on like QQQ and stuff as well, right? So let's just pretend we, the other side of this is assignment's actually a good thing, because then we could do something called a covered call. So let's talk about the covered call side of things, okay? So let's pretend you own 100 shares of SPY at the current market value, right? Or let's just say you were playing close to the money. Now I'll talk about that in a minute, because usually with SPY, I like to be closer to the money because the premiums are better, right? Like, for example, the closer you get to the current share value, right, the more your more premium you're collecting, right? So if you said you were going to buy them at 638, right, I would collect $394, right? Because it's more likely to happen. Look at the delta. It's a 50-50, 50% chance of assignment, 50% chance of close it trading at 638, right? But let's just pretend you did that, right? Let's just pretend you did that. You did this trade and you collected, their $390 or whatever, $309, and you own 100 shares of SPY for $638, okay? Well, what we can do now is use that as our collateral, not our $500,000, our actual shares. If you own 100 shares of a company, you most likely are able to do this strategy for yourself as well. I like to look at it like collecting rent on your assets, because most people, they think the only way they make money in the stock market is when a stock goes up. And that isn't true, right? What you can actually do is collect premium from options buyers for saying you're willing to potentially sell your shares. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click sell a call, right? And now what I'm doing is saying, hey, I'm willing to sell my 100 shares or 1,000 shares or whatever amount of shares. Every options contract is equal to 100 shares on August 18th in 9 days for a price that I choose. So for example, let's say you would sell them for $645. Let's open this up. Nail on the head, 25 delta, right? 645, right? And you would collect $162 of premium. Now I have another calculator for this. Again, this is free in our Facebook group. Join us. Link will be down below in the description. We're collecting $162 here, which is awesome, right? $162, right? Our strike of the option, that's what we're willing to sell our shares for, is $645, right? Our purchase, we said you bought them around current market value, so $638, right? And this is what the trade would look like. You're getting a 0.25 premium return. All that is 162 divided by $63,000, or $63,800, right? Times 100, right? That gives us that 0.25% return in 9 days. We get the profit on the shares if we end up selling them. That means if SPY actually hits 645, we actually will sell our shares at close on the 9th. Or on the 18th in 9 days, right? And then this is what our whole trade would look like. Now, what are the risks with this play? Well, this one, you're capping your upside. That's the biggest risk, okay? You are capping your upside. You are defining the trade here, meaning that, hey, at close on the 18th, if SPY is trading at 645, or you're selling. Now, there are like management and rolling, and there are advanced strategies. Dive into the channel, dive into the description. There's a whole bunch of resources. You got to kind of immerse yourself in this game a bit. We don't trade a lot. Like, this isn't, I don't trade full time, guys, by no means, nor would I ever even want to. But this is like this takes literally like no more than like an hour a week, if that. Like, it doesn't take long, like, at all. Like, this isn't like drawing our charts and stuff like that. It's nothing like that. But with that said, the biggest risk on this side is, let's say on the 18th at close, SPY's trading at 650, 660, right? 700. You're selling your shares at 645. This is you're missing out on any further upside past your strike price. It's just the reality of the situation. The way I kind of combat this is all mental. I always focus on this. Like, I definitely suggest having a buy and hold portfolio. I have my monthly buys set to a reoccurring, and I buy every single Monday. I'm buying my 5 Vanguard funds that I love. That's like retirement. That's, emergent, whatever. Like, that's just money that sits there. I don't touch. I don't do the strategy on. But this, what I'm showing you, I purely am focused on making money and income. So if I sell my shares and I miss out maybe with $5 extra per share, yeah, it sucks. But at the end of the day, did I make money? Yeah. And I followed Papa Warren's rules, which is don't lose money. Yes, maybe I lost further upside, but listen, we can see how quickly this market can change on us, right? Look, for example, like the drop in April, right? I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to, maybe sell their NVIDIA shares at the top there and then got in on that drop, right? Or across the board that we see on that drop, right? So, like, for me, I kind of try to take my emotion out of this. And this kind of strategy, guys, I kind of think of it as like, hey, it forces me to buy low and sell high, like, kind of, right? Like, I get in at prices that are below the current market value, and then I'm selling them above the market value, okay? Now, with the covered call, let's say on the 19th, right, this is trading at 638 still, or sideways, anything below 645. Let's say it's trading at 644. It's below 645. You're not selling your shares. Your shares are returned back to you. And then for the following week, right, you can go and rent your shares out again and say you're willing to sell them. Guys, if you want to get your option selling portfolio set up for yourself here in the next week, I don't believe it takes any more time than that. Click the first link in the description of today's video. You're going to learn a lot more about this strategy. I kind of over-engineered the wheel strategy for myself, and I call it the Ark Options Strategy. Listen, I can name it whatever I want, but I essentially combined 5 sources of premium generation into one strategy. Our cash secured put premiums. I'm collecting interest while I wait to buy stocks. I didn't even talk about that in today's video. It's a very specific setup. My covered call premiums. I collect monthly dividends from dividend payers, right? If they pay a dividend monthly. And then my appreciation sale when I eventually sell my shares. So if you want to learn more about the Ark Options Strategy and how this can fit into a actual real life without taking away from your work, taking away from your family, without like actually being a burden on you, and without having to stare at charts and draw on candlesticks, trust me, I'm not smart enough for that stuff. Click the first link in the description of today's video. Guys, remember, sell options, collect premiums, repeat. I'll see y'all tomorrow.